Hello and welcome to this week's class. I decided today I want to talk about stillness, which might sound rather absurd thing to be talking about in a class that's all about movement. But in fact, stillness is actually at the root of what qigong does. Stillness of body and stillness of mind. The stillness of body comes when you are able to get yourself into that really good bear stance, engaging those core abdominal muscles. Because then when you move, the moves come from those core abdominal muscles, which is in reality what we should all be doing all the time, but in fact most of us don't. And with many of the Shibashi moves, the Shibashi set is the full 18 move set that I teach in my classes. And what I do here is the first 4 or 5 moves. With many of the Shibashi moves, the movement, although it looks as if you're moving your arms, actually comes from your body. One of the favourite moves that I do in my classes is a thing called palm push, which is a really bad name for it, because you don't actually push with your palm at all. The palm push, you get your hand into this position on the in-breath, and as you breathe out, it looks as if you're pushing across your body. In fact, it's a turn from the waist, so the push comes from the core abdominal muscles, and your hand should always stay in the same position relative to your chest, so your hand actually stays still, and it's moved by the movement of your body. That principle isn't quite as obvious in the moves that we do in this set, but the same principle still applies. And certainly with something simple like the first move, raising the arms, although it feels as if you are actively, and you almost certainly are, actively raising your arms and doing all this work with your shoulder, in fact, it should be coming from the breath. I will just stand up to illustrate this. So it should be coming from the breath, with just the smallest of intentions from your arm, so that as you breathe in, your whole body rises and your arm rises with it. So the idea that you make a big movement with your arms, excuse me, although the arms may make a big movement, if you're doing it to the highest possible standard, then that movement is actually being driven by the movement of the body, and you aren't putting too much strain on your shoulders at all. Same with the second move, where it looks as if you're moving your arms in and out, but actually the outward movement should be driven by the expansion of the chest. So the arms actually stay still, you don't put any effort into it, but they naturally move outwards as your chest expands. So stillness of the body is one very important principle within Tai Chi. And when we go through the rooting and grounding meditation at the start of the set, that is to help you keep your body as still and as strong as possible. The second aspect of it is stillness of the mind. Now, obviously, we cover that very much in the mindfulness meditation we'll do at the end of the set in this video. But if you are using the movement phase to be mindful, and you are actively trying to tune into your body and what it needs, that is another form of mindfulness and stillness. Because stillness of the mind doesn't mean that the mind is empty. Stillness of the mind means that you are actively focusing on one thing. In this case, focusing on how your body is responding to the moves that you're asking it to make. Or you're focusing on your breath. Minds aren't meant to be completely still and empty. And every form of meditation that I'm aware of does get the mind to focus on something. Whether it's a mantra or looking at a candle flame or anything like that. So minds are meant to actively think. The trouble is sometimes they want to think about lots of things that aren't necessarily helpful for us. And so the stillness aspect with qigong and the mind is that you keep your mind actively focused on how your body feels, or in the mindfulness meditation you are following my words with where I'm encouraging you to have your focus. But that still recognises that your mind will wander. What mindfulness encourages you to do is to be aware when your mind wanders away from what you want it to focus on, so that you bring it back to focusing on actually where you want it rather than on what it needs to do. And having a focus of thought does keep your mind still, because when it's focusing on that, it's not thinking about all the myriad things that otherwise you might be thinking about, like, is it going to rain? Can I put the washing out? How am I going to pay the bills? Have I got the kids' school uniforms ready? Or, all the other things that can provide worries in daily life. So a few weeks ago, well, a few months ago now, I was doing a meditation where I was actually doing my qigong in a very, very meditative way. And the phrase that just came into my mind from nowhere is, my stillness is my power. And certainly that is something that's very important and very true for me. I know that when I am being still, I'm far more effective than when I'm in my more natural state of, running hither and thither and trying to do 100 things all at the same time. Now, that phrase may not resonate with you the way it resonated with me, but maybe it's something that you could think about. Okay, I've wrapped it on for long enough. So I'd like to invite you to get yourself into the position where you're going to sit or stand to do the qigong movements. As always, at the end of the set, I will go into a mindfulness meditation, and the start of the meditation will be signalled by the sound of the singing bowl, as will the end of the meditation. So get yourself into your space where you feel comfortable. I will just get off this stool and move back so that you can see what I'm doing, and then we will get going with the actual activity of this class. So, if you're standing, get your feet hips width apart. If you're sitting, make sure that your feet are also hip width apart. And if you're sitting, try to make sure that you've got a 90 degree angle with your hips and at your knees so that your joints are as open as they can be. Then get your back nice and straight. And if you can, engage these core abdominal muscles with a slight pelvic tilt. You can do that if you're sitting as well. Get your neck straight and maybe tuck your chin in a bit to make sure it's parallel with the floor. Let your hands hang loosely by your side. Make sure your shoulders are relaxed. And then close your eyes for a moment and just focus on your breathing. And your focus to your feet if you're standing. And make sure that your weight is evenly distributed across those feet. Then I'd like you to imagine yourself in that beautiful glass elevator. And just imagine that elevator cage just starts slowly dropping. Floor by floor, maybe only half the floor. It slowly, gradually moves downwards until it is as low as you comfortably wish to take it. And then turn your hands so that the palms of your hands are facing backwards. With your next in-breath, slowly let your arms float up in front of you. And as you breathe out, just let them sink back down. And your own breath and your own rhythm. And you move your arms as far as you can easily manage in one gentle, easy breath. The breathing be completely natural. You always work within 70% of your maximum physical ability. If you find yourself doing something that hurts, then don't do it. Just bring it back a bit. And if you can't move your arms, then maybe just do it in your imagination. Breathe in and your arms float up. Breathe out and they sink back down. And then the last time for this move. And as you breathe in, this time let your hands turn inwards and spread out with the breath. And as you breathe out, then move back in and back down. It doesn't have to be a large movement at all. Be careful to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed. To make this movement as high as is comfortable for you. As you breathe in, imagine you breathe in good and positive energy. And as you breathe out, maybe you can imagine you breathe out any stress or tension like grace. Last time for this move. And you breathe in, let your arms float up as high as you're comfortable to take them and make an arch. As you breathe out, dip slightly on your left knee and let your right arm unfurl. As you breathe in, everything comes back up to the centre again. And do the same on the other side. Breathe out, one hand floats down. Breathe in, it comes back up again. And last time on this side. And very last time for this move. You breathe in, your hands come up. Then as you breathe out, turn your palms outwards and just let your hands sweep down by your side. You breathe in, they rise up again. As you breathe out, maybe you could imagine that you're pushing away any clouds that surround you. Breathe in, your arms float up. Breathe out, and they float all the way back down. And then the last time for this move, breathe out and let your hands come to rest in front of your abdomen. Then as you breathe in, turn from the waist and let one hand float out to one side. As you breathe out, everything comes back into the center. This is an example of a move where the arms and hands should be moving in sync with the body's moving. Breathe in, one hand floats out. As you breathe out, it comes back into the center. And then last time for this move. Breathe in, breathe out, bring the hand back into the center. And then just gently let your hands float down. Bring them into position to balance your chin. You breathe in, imagine you're feeling around the outside of an imaginary ball, and as you breathe out, push that ball underwater. Breathe in, smooth down the outside of the ball. Breathe out and push it underwater. And then last time for this move. This time as you breathe out, you want to let your hands just float down into position in front of your abdomen or into your lap if you're seated. And just for a moment, sit or stand very still and just let everything settle. And then get yourself into position, ready for the meditation. So get yourself seated or lying down, whatever you prefer. Make sure that you're really comfortable. And then listen to the sound of the singing bowl as it fades into silence. Follow the sound of the bowl as it fades away into stillness and silence. And then I'd like you to move your attention to where your body is supported by the bed or the chair or the floor. Really notice the touch against your body. Maybe you're aware of different textures, part hard, part firm. And then imagine gravity pulling you a little deeper down into wherever you're sitting or lying. And as gravity pulls you a little deeper, let your shoulders relax. Let your arms and legs become soft and relaxed. And then I want you to bring your attention to your breathing. Keep your mind on that simple act of breathing in and breathing out. Most of the time, our breathing happens so automatically we don't really notice it. I want you to notice it now. And I want you to be aware of what you feel as you breathe. Can you feel the air moving in through your nose and out again as you breathe out? Are you aware of the difference in temperature? The cold air going in and warmer air going out? Are you aware of muscles moving as you breathe? If so, where? Just let your mind rest with whatever comes most strongly to your attention with your breath. Don't change your breath in any way. I want you to breathe quite normally and naturally. And just be aware of what you feel as you breathe. Now, because you've got a normal human mind, the chances are that you will discover that your mind wanders away. Maybe part of it is bored. Maybe part of it thinks this is all very silly. Maybe you feel impatient. And maybe your mind just wanders off into a daydream or planning the day ahead. But that's okay. Because that's what minds are meant to do. They're meant to think. Sometimes what our minds have us thinking doesn't make us feel very good. But when you're aware of your thoughts, you notice that that's what's happening. And you can bring your mind back to focusing on something that doesn't make you feel bad. So every time you notice that your mind has wandered away, I want you to congratulate yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back or a gold star. And then gently lead your mind back to focusing on every in-breath and every out-breath. Because right here, right now, nothing else matters except just this breath coming in, just this breath going out. And I don't want you to get impatient with yourself or to be critical if your mind wanders away, however often it happens. Because when you notice what your mind is doing, you are succeeding in being mindful. Because right here, right now, you don't have to think about anything else except just this breath coming in, just this breath going in. And there is a lot of movement associated with your breathing. But now I'd like you to try and bring your attention to that moment in between each breath when everything is still. That brief moment when your in-breath becomes an out-breath and your out-breath becomes an in-breath. And just for a moment, everything is still. Don't hold your breath. Just try to become aware of that very brief moment of stillness. And with that stillness, there is calmness. Now that moment of stillness and calmness happens hundreds of times every day, whether you're aware of it or not. And now you know that. Anytime you need stillness and calmness, all you need to do is to anchor your thoughts and your awareness into your breath and make yourself aware of that moment of stillness and calmness that happens in between each breath. And as you breathe, maybe you can imagine that each breath spreads that feeling of stillness and calmness throughout your whole body, spreading out from your chest and down your arms, through your body, down your legs, and all the way up through your head. So that after a few gentle, easy breaths, the whole of your body is filled with that feeling of stillness and calmness, from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. And just for a moment, really enjoy that feeling of stillness and calmness that's filling your body. Now I'd like you to bring your mind back once again to your breath. And then slowly let your attention move outwards and become a bit aware once more of the touch of the bed or chair on your body. And then become aware of the room and the sounds both inside and outside that room. And bring yourself back to normal awareness by opening your eyes. But as you do so, keep in the front of your mind the thought that you can recall this wonderful feeling anytime by focusing your attention onto your breath. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting, enjoyable, helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments under this video or on the page or on my personal page. I'm sure most of you know how to contact me by now. Have any ideas for things you'd like me to cover in future weeks? Do please feel free to contact me. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back to do it all again next week, and I hope you have a good day.